one. I'm asking Jared to come up.
Linda, I may skip out, but it's nice to see you.
So nice to see
My
you.
greetings to your family.
I will show him the photo. I will print off the photo because he doesn't. My dad does not have a cell phone. What does it say? What does it say?
One lucky man.
What?
Whoever doesn't have a cell phone.
My dad never got into that part of tech. So this speaks about the generational differences in my family. Hi, what's your name? Yesen. Have we met? Where are you from? Oh no. Man, you look so familiar to me. Never lived in California? Well, hey, welcome.
He's got a twin.
You have a twin, yeah. Let me set something up here real quick. Oh, mercy. Friends, I have a number of slides because this is going to be a data-driven one. So if you're interested in seeing slides, feel free to come forward. Otherwise, I would love, since we're such a small group, for this to be a really interactive, like we are learning and it's like therapy for a family, right? This is what I feel like this is going to be for us. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hi, what's your name?
Sorry, Marilyn.
Marilyn, why are you sorry? Don't be sorry. Are the two of you together?
Sometimes.
You and your two children who run around her children and things are crazy. Friends, my name is Linda. I am a children's pastor in Southern California at the Azure Hills Church right outside of Loma Linda. My background, however, has been in youth and young adult ministry. I was chaplain at Lawson University for like 13 years and outreach pastor in Glendale and children and blah, blah, blah. So kids are my passion point. And this is why this presentation today that is not yet showing is so important for things that we're going to be doing. But I am going to start off by telling you a little bit about me, and then you were getting to tell me, hi! I'm so sorry. I apologize for that.
I invited her to come. I haven't seen her yet.
A fairy just walked into the room.
This is really important stuff. You're going to love it. You're welcome back.
Oh, hey, welcome. Okay. I'm going to need you to pull out your cell phones because we are going to do an interactive thing as I tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in a home I was an afterthought. My younger sister and I, we weren't supposed to happen. So there's a large generational gap between me and my older siblings, 7 to 10 years. So coming from a different generation, my parents are also first world. My parents are immigrants to the United States. So I am first generation born in America, which adds another layer of things. Yes, when you press right buttons and things happen. My family grew up poor, so technology was one of those things that was not in our household, to the point where my dad did not believe in us necessarily needing to have a computer at home. He gave me a typewriter, not an electric one. First 2 years of academy. Wow. Do not make mistakes. Exactly. You know the motions. So first 2 years of academy, second 2 years, he got us the electric typewriter. Oh wow. With the whiteout option on it. So this is just to say it was very interesting. You're good. Is there a baby sleeping? No. Oh, okay. Oh, she's awake.
So you can be as loud
That's
as you
what I was
want.
like, shit. So this just goes to show that we all have interesting stories when it comes to technology. So asking you all, first time, or what age were you when you got a cell phone? We'll do a really quick round. You saying your name, you saying how old you were when you got your cell phone.
Oh my goodness, well, it was back
What's your
in
name?
the, oh, Janice.
Hi, Janice.
Back in the 90s.
Back in the 90s.
Well, maybe, well.
That's everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when cell phones came out.
Yeah, it's archaic, but, you know.
Maybe I should have done computer.
Flip up or whatever, you know, yeah.
All right, good job.
My name's Trevor. I don't remember when I first got a cell phone. It was probably around then.
Okay.
Marilyn, I got my first cell phone, I'm pretty sure it was 21 years old.
You're 21? Yeah.
I'm Billy. I didn't get a cell phone until I was 16, and I put off getting a smartphone for as long as I could because I just saw everyone glued to their screens.
It was a personal choice.
I purposely put it off until like 3 to 4 years
Wasn't
ago.
that long ago, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Now I'm hooked.
Now it's now
You got over playing Snake on your Nokia.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm Jessie, and I was 16 also, it was when I got to, when I got a car, then I got a cell phone.
You got your car before you got your cell phone?
They were like together.
You're gonna be driving.
Actually, you know what, no. I was older than that. It was like 2007 for me, so I guess I was a little older than that. I had to do MapQuest printing directions and things like that.
MapQuest. Woo. Woo. Words.
Things out. What's that about?
Words. I'm waiting to hear what everyone's first music choice. Doctor? No, I'm just kidding.
Elizabeth, I think I was 22.
22. Yeah.
I think I was 21 or something. I was
Ryan?
1998. Yeah, Ryan, sorry.
Ryan?
Yeah. I was 21. I got one for Christmas.
Hey.
A Nokia.
Right?
I was 18.
And me.
Yesenia.
Yesenia, 18. Linda, I got my first cell phone when I was 20. And I paid the $15. I was like, I don't need more than 150 minutes a month. Surely. I paid $15 a month and then quickly realized after the first day that I was out of minutes. And that was expensive. Friends, want to get to know you just a little bit more. So if you could pull out your cell phones in this tech talk, would you please go to that web address, polev.com/Linda Biswas. Biswash like dishwash, but with the B, no H's. polev.com/Linda Biswas. When you get there, can you say, yeah? Bishwash like dishwash. I don't know why, because that's not actually how you pronounce it, but that's how we've said it my entire life. It's actually Bishash, but Bishwash, ever since I can remember. When you're there, say ding.
Ding.
We have a couple more. If you're not there, say dong. Well, maybe that's not. No, not yet. Oh, yeah, if you can, you're fine. You can go ahead and answer the question. So you will see here it is going to be an anonymous survey, but if you would go ahead and start answering the questions, and I'll make sure I slow down and give you enough chance. I only see
My phone says page not found.
7.
And I typed it all in. I went to Siri and I typed it all in to get onto the thing.
That's embarrassing.
Oh, wasn't it 2 L's? P-O-L-L. Oh,
We're having coming moment,
okay.
coming to Jesus moments, right?
It's good. I did it too.
Okay, and then what do I have to do? Put my screen name.
That's what you do.
Yeah, he's helping me with mine, so
Oh, okay. I was like, I only see 8 people in here, but there's 10, like on the screen.
Okay, I think I'm good now.
There's 10 of us in the room, but only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but only 9 of us that are on here. Jerry, did you make it on?
Yep.
Oh,
Well, it says getting to know you, navigating your digital world seminar, 10
yep,
questions.
that's
Short
perfect.
survey.
Go ahead and start answering the questions.
Okay, all right.
Summer. Yeah.
It's a race. You can see how quickly.
School year hours.
Right
Right now it's bad.
now. On average, you can do on average. Look at this spread. I feel like this is that game at the fair. Who's going to make it to the end first? Almost done, I see.
As I'm filling this out, my mother is liking every one of the camp meeting pictures I sent her.
So it's popping up and
Go away, go.
Well, my kids are growing up, so I don't know how many hours there's, a week. Oh, good grief. Okay, probably a bunch. Wow.
Oh, I've watched this video that they're watching next door. We're almost there.
Don't know how to answer number 8.
Truthfully, honestly,
Yeah.
from the
Describe
depths.
in one word. Oh, here's number 9. Okay.
There should be 10 total. All right. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and get started since we've already got the first few answered together. So let's get to know each other, shall we? Distance traveled for camp meeting. 70% of you are local, 0 to 50 miles away. We hike 3 of you. Who are the 3 of you that are 50 to 100 miles away? 1, 2, 3. Hey, welcome. Are you over 50 miles away?
Yeah, because it's 20 miles to Portland, or Vancouver from where we live at La Center. And so coming out here, it's more miles, so I don't know, maybe 15 more miles.
Fantastic. Well, welcome to all of you. This morning we had a family that's from 5 hours away. And I was like, mercy, welcome to camp meeting.
You came from California.
Who?
You came from California.
That's true. I did, but I was requested to be here. They chose to come of their own volition with their grandma, so that was a huge thing. But yeah, otherwise, and my flight, friends, airports, it took me 16 hours to get here. 16 from California. It's like a 3-hour flight away. But our gens that we have here, we've got our millennials. We've got Gen X. Actually, I'm a Gen X. I don't know why I wooted at millennial. Gen X. And we have baby boomers in the house. Welcome, welcome. How would you describe your comfort level with technology? Native, I've used it since I was a kid. One of you. Say it. I was like, from our responses, 16. Educated, I've used it for the majority of my life, most of us, and then stressed, I have to ask kids and strangers for help. Welcome. I just took anonymity away from this survey, so I will stop doing that. How many kids do you have? All kids are kiddos. 0, I'm a fantastic mentor. 1 of you, 4 of you have at least 2, 2 of you have 3, and 3 of you have 4 or more. So welcome to this. We're going to be learning a lot from you, I know. How many hours on average are your children, sorry for the typo, on tech, not including school hours? So how many hours on average are your kids on tech? 0 to 5. 4 of you said. 4 said 6 to 10 hours a week, not including school hours, not doing school, so just doing things. 1 of you said 11 to 15 hours, and 1 of you said more than 15 hours. I should have asked that about you, not your kids. How many media and digital devices total are in your home? TV, cell phones, tablets, iPads, iPhones, blah, 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 total, for everyone. 0, none of you. 1 to 4, 5 to 10. Good job. I really thought we were going to have a 15 plus in here. If a kiddo had a phone and a tablet and there's a home computer and mom and dad have a cell phone and so I thought there'd be more. So good job. How satisfied? Good job 0, good job 15 plus. It's all good. How satisfied are you with your child's spiritual and faith development? 2 of you said they're great. I think they're okay. 60, not sure. Praying for you, the 2 of you. What is one positive and one negative outcome of your child having access to media? They have been exposed to some things I'd rather they not have been exposed to. Let me come down to the bottom. They learn a lot about nature and technology. They're really asking some great questions. They can learn new skills. VeggieTales is a positive or the negative. I don't know which. They default to wanting to be on the iPad TV whenever they get free time. They've been Sorry? Yeah. They've been exposed to some things I'd rather they hadn't been. Yes. YouTube ads can have inappropriate content. Yes. They can learn new skills and they lose track of responsibilities. Yes. Educational opportunities. Lots of educational shows. Negative, they want more and more. Thanks to that person for answering both. Contact is good. Mindless entertainment. Addicted to games. I may have been playing one while you took the poll. I did 2 things and I was like, what am I doing? Put it away. But things have finished growing and I needed access to learning tools. They always want more screen time. Positive, communicate with me, family, their dad easily, and I can keep track of them. Fantastic. Negative, less positive face-to-face communication. Yeah. Describe in one word your relationship with your children. Good, happy, accepting, work, close, blooming, great, and non-stop. Praying for you all, non-stop. Woo!
Know our kids too well.
What is one way you're winning as a family? Lots of time together. eat and pray together, quality time together. This is great. We base our discussions in Bible principles from real-world problems. Abnormal. Fantastic. We do a lot of things together and are learning more about each other every day. Awesome, guys. Accepting and respectful. We're together a lot and love it. These answers post-COVID are astounding, actually. We know that Jesus loves us and we want to shine for him. Praying and having meals together often as can be. We're enjoying life together more often these days. Observation point. You are my young crowd. This morning, everyone was 50 plus, 60 plus, other than the two grandkids, and everything was not winning. Which goes with the data points that I'm going to show you, but I'm seeing it in real world right now. Like, good job. Fantastic. This is great. So let me switch over. Thanks for us getting to know each other just a little bit. Welcome to, friend, what's your name?
I'm Trent.
Trent, hi, I'm Linda. We did names of everyone else before, but
Okay.
no, you're in the family. One of the questions we asked was age you were when you first got your cell phone.
I think it was in my sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
So I got it way later than everybody else.
Oh.
Not everybody else here. Not everybody.
That's right.
And kids, do you have any?
No.
Mentor to many. Let's just say yes. There was an option that was like 0, I have 0 kids, but I'm a mentor, so that's why you're here. Anywho, friends, welcome to this seminar. We're going to talk about a couple of data points, and then after we go through what studies have said, I want us to circle together and actually talk together as a group. So we'll just go through some of these data points, and then we'll work on things together so we're having real life conversation with real life situations that are happening here at the end. So top parenting struggles that people have shared, these are from Barna and Pew Research. Barna is a nonprofit that does studies. Anyone ever heard of Barna before? Oh, a few of you. So this is very Barna-based. It's a group that does research for church regarding culture, children, youth, technology, that type of thing. So it is a very handy tool for pastors that we turn to be like, tell us what is going on outside of the church that we are at so we can understand where our kids are. Top parenting struggles include 35%, upper large one, peer influence. Video games, 30%, 31% digital content. And then to a lesser degree, busyness, social media, internet searches for inappropriate material, 17%, and family struggles at 20%. Do you agree with this chart? Would you see your top 3 struggles listed on here? No. Fantastic.
Well, my 2 grandkids, they like to play video games on their phones when they're at Grandma and Grandpa's.
So, we are skewing off of the data research already. This was a question that was asked of families of engaged parents. These are all Christian families, so the study I'm doing is not just U.S. Data research. It is for self-identified, active, engaged Christian families, not Adventist, Christian families. These were the top ones. Do you mind throwing out a couple? If yours is not represented on here, throwing out a couple that are yours.
We have younger kids too, so it's like potty training and general behavior.
That's
Like,
true.
don't throw things.
How old is your oldest?
8.
8?
Yeah, oldest is 8, youngest is in my belly, coming out.
And middle is?
Well, I have 8, 6, 5, or 4.5, 1.5.
Just kidding. I assumed this was oldest and second oldest. Second.
We get that.
Good job. So potty training, that type of thing. But some of the things will still relate because you have younger kids who have older siblings who are going to start wanting technology.
Well, the 8-year-old certainly would be more of some of this,
Yeah.
My grandkids I think they go to YouTube, but our grandson is more mechanical engineer type. I mean, he likes to see how things are made and, that kind of stuff. So he tunes in on that kind of information.
Yeah.
And then my granddaughter, like science experiments.
But online or in
On
person?
No, it's on the phone. They have little videos of how to do this stuff.
Yeah. So this Gen Alpha, which is our youngest kids right now, YouTube is becoming the number one. Did we realize this? I thought it was still TikTok and Instagram. But apparently YouTube is becoming the number one spot for our Gen Alpha, which is, what age is Gen Alpha? Does anybody know? It's something to 2025. Gen Alpha are 2011 to 2025. YouTube is becoming number one. So these internet ads, the YouTube ads that you're talking about, these things are actually becoming a really prevalent part of our kids' information gathering at a very young age. Imagine a 2-year-old who's watching YouTube videos and then those ads are coming in. Like it's becoming a thing. So tech and media, hi! Tech and media have created and or are increasing many of our old problems. There is a fear that because of technology, they're losing things that we had, but technology is actually only impounding the problem that we've had from when we were younger. It is making us more distracted. There's easier access, obviously, to porn. Bullying has intensified over just even the last 5-10 years, and information addiction, needing to be on your phone, getting information. These are things that we know are issues. I am not necessarily going into depth on them, but if you want to talk about them, we definitely can when we're done with the data set that I have to share with you. But I wanted to share this point with us because each one of these issues has so much to do with the wiring of our kids' brains. And the highs that they get from hormone stimulation that happens when you're engaged in something negative, when you're watching something exciting, when you're right. And so it's still an important thing. I don't want us to think it's gone away. We need to realize that it's only actually increased. Now talking about media stressed parents. 1/3 of engaged parents are media stressed. 43% of stressed parents are ages 50 plus. 29% of stressed parents are 24 to 34. And the difference is the 50 pluses probably have the teens and collegiates. So they're on tech possibly a little bit more. Also, 50 plus are not native tech users themselves, so they're trying to learn, but their kids have beat them in understanding and taking in information, whereas a 24 to 34-year-old parent is kind of a tech native themselves, and their kids are probably a lot smaller and not using technology yet. So just looking at that and understanding why. Child consumes 16 or more media hours per week, which was not what was represented in the data set that you guys shared today. More media hours per week, media stress versus non-media stress parents. So again, media stress parents are 50 plus. These are showing that their kids are online more than not media stress parents. But again, if they're younger, they're probably not on social media. Is social media bad? Answer, yes, no.
Yes.
Oh, both. It's the throwaway answer, right? It is both. Yes, you are right, it is bad. Yes, you are right, it is good. One of the things that I want us to think about as families with a Christian background and mindset is what are our kids doing on social media. So we're going to show you a couple of studies. Are they active and engaged in something that they're developing? Are they using social media as a positive tool, or are they just playing a game, which is like a brainless activity? There's not engagement that has to happen. Are they doing something that is social? They're playing with their friends online, so there's conversations on Discord. Discord, any of your kids on Discord? Do we know Discord? I've come to Oregon. I don't know what's happened. Oh, two in the back. Do we use? Just kidding, friends. I was like, I don't know who.
In touch with my friends from Southern California.
Is it a Southern California thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
But we play games, and it's like we're in the same room together because we can talk and enjoy a game together.
Right.
We used to have multiple board games. Can't do that anymore.
Right. So, if you were describing Discord, like what is Discord to the room? Since you two were the only one.
You can imagine a phone call that has perfect clarity because it's through the internet instead of over a phone signal. And you can also just share pictures. It's a lot more seamless than like check your text and I'm going to send you a picture. It can all pop up on your screen together, watch the same video together at the same time. You can share your screen. Use it to just chat. And if we're going to play a game together.
Yeah. My old church, we do game nights on Discord. So everyone's on video and playing the game and chatting, like all at the same time. And it's actually moved our young adult Vespers onto Discord now as well. But again, it's usually a younger, our generation, y'all, we're not necessarily the ones that are using it, but it is a very common place for our teens to be at right now. So are they doing something that's social, where they're interacting with other people, like on platforms like Discord, or are they doing something that's isolated? They're using the incognito function on the computer, right? And then are they creating information? Are they creating something of use while they're on social media, or are they just consuming? So these are things to keep in mind. So social media doesn't necessarily have to be bad. Let's look at what it is that they're actually doing. So media engaged kids, some things to note from this Barna study. More likely, this Barna study is a 20-year study, 93 to 2020. So they ended during COVID because what's happening, we don't know. So there's not data set yet for the last 2 years. More likely to engage in the Bible versus other. If they are on the app, or media engaged children are more likely to engage with the Bible on an app, 37% versus other, 27%. Audio, 27% versus 17%, and video, 27% of the time versus 21%. Those are versus kids who are not engaged children on social media. Greater biblical engagement between media engaged kids and media stressed parents. Again, media engaged children are more likely to actually attend camp, 38% who are engaged versus 26% who are not. And attend church, 83% versus 73% that are not. And again, age of children affect the latter. If you are younger, you don't have a choice to go to church necessarily because you're going with your parents, right? So that is one to keep in mind there. Play and generation YouTube, the developmental process for kids. Areas of play remain the same for like when we were younger. Toss out something that you did when you were in elementary or high school that was a plaything for you after school. Favorite thing?
We were like riding bikes, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
That counts. Anyone have those blue and red mats? Those old school plastic? No? I used to sled down the stairs with my cousins. We would like slalom. That was our favorite thing. Like, let's try and get around the corner versus slamming into the corner of the I was destructive when I was younger. Anyone else? My sister's Barbie. I used to like throw it up and see how many times I could flip it before her head came off. Like, no, is this not a thing? Oh gosh, I want to go. Now I need to know how you played.
I was a tomboy, and we would climb trees, but I also didn't grow up in America either. I'm
Yeah.
from the Caribbean, but we used to climb trees and race on the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of my parents worked, so they'd leave us at school and tell us walk to the library, so we would walk a couple miles to the library and sit there all afternoon.
Wow. Reading. That's an after school activity, yeah. Other after school activities that we want to share?
Cats.
Creatures. Yeah.
Well, I grew up on a farm with my folks, and the creek ran through our property, and so after my sisters and I brought the cows in for my dad to milk when he got home from work, we'd go down to the creek and play in the water. In the summertime.
Little bit of a difference between how you and I grew up, but
In the wintertime, we color in our coloring books at home and
Yeah.
play with our paper dolls, you know, and put the little dresses on them, and with our baby dolls.
actually, I
and
do remember those books. Do you remember the coloring books where you had to, do those exist anymore? I don't know.
I don't know.
So, some of our play still remains. There's hair play. Girls are still wanting to, girls and boys, apologies, are still wanting to do something with hair. There's clothes play, there's transformational play. You be the captain, I'll be the co-pilot, you be the, right? You're the pirate, anyway. There's storytelling play. Think Little Women. There's racing and competition. These things still exist with our kids today. However, some of these things are now being done digitally. There are apps where kids can put makeup on a kiddo, on another person. There are apps where you're putting they're choosing the outfit for the event that they're going to. There are apps now that are obviously Mario Kart old school, but like racing things, like the same types of play that we had, that we engaged in, our kids are as well, but digitally. And this, just to throw in the, hi baby, just to throw in that the negative part of social media, there is a huge disconnect between physically, tangibly holding something and playing with it and swiping. So a number of studies show brain activity. I didn't include any of the scans, and I should have. But I took 2 brain science courses when I was doing my education master's, and it was just fascinating to see the brain wave activity when you were holding a book and reading from it versus the person who was holding a phone. And we would switch, and the person who was holding the book and reading and then held the phone, the brainwave activity would change. Because when you're holding it, you're physically holding a book, you're interacting kinetically with a page. There might be a smell thing, there's a vision thing, and your brain just connects to the book. So even retention and learning is vastly different from those who have physical books to digital books, which is really crazy to think for education today, because so many schools are trying to go digital books. Like, it's cheaper for families, it's more accessible, it's more, right? However, educators, we've seen that there is a disconnect between it. It's easier to get distracted on technology that you use for games, that you use for chatting, that you use for homework, that you use for, there are no longer these barriers, and it's causing retention issues, and it is lowering grade scores. We are finding. Yikes.
It's very true, because my 14-year-old grandson had a lot of problems when he had to stay at home and there was no school because of COVID. But my granddaughter, she's very academic, and she got straight A's. She's a straight A student.
It takes.
But he was 9th grade, he's high school, and it was miserable.
This is not including, again, COVID data, because we're not going to have solid COVID data for at least a 2 to 4 year outset from normal. So I did not include, this goes to the beginning of the pandemic, 2020, but information is so skewed right now. There's not been enough study, and we're currently still in it. So this is why the questions were outside of school time.
So wait, based on what you're saying and what the slide is showing, does that mean that the degrees of emotional experience, they have a better emotional experience with virtual reality? Yeah, is that
No,
backwards?
I switched it.
Okay.
This slide is
Okay,
incorrect.
okay.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Least is virtual reality, then video game, then physical toy.
Physical toy has a
It's
greater
best.
degree of emotional
Yes.
experience. Okay.
Thanks for that catch. That is wrong, and I will fix it for Friday.
Virtual reality, that's interesting if you speak to anything about that, because it's always seemed. really
Lies.
cheap. Yeah. Lies, I like that.
Not you, me.
Okay, go on.
You go, then I'll go.
Oh, it seems like, obviously, it doesn't seem like a great idea to put something that immersive around your eyeballs, and it's always, I just had a intuition that doesn't look very healthy. If screen time is bad, like when you're sitting 6 feet away watching on a TV, virtual reality just looks that much more addictive, that much more
Yeah.
of everything.
Lies for me, this is the correct order. And the reason is this is emotional experience, not educational experience. So for like retention purposes. So this one is emotion. I'm holding a phone. What are my emotions to it? I'm playing a game. What are my emotions to it? I'm in the game. What are my emotions to it?
So ability to be addicted to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Virtual reality is
So
taking the cake for this.
virtual reality is the highest emotional because you are living it. Your heart rate increases. The hormones that you are excreting are increased, everything. So because now you are living it, it's no longer the same. But it's not real. What do you do with that? So emotional experience versus educational retention, which is what the tangible one was before. Yeah.
So in theory, there's some sort of a continuum there that's going to show that a physical learning experience like a book or a pamphlet or something like that is going to have a superior recall and interaction ability with your brain to say a tablet, but VR is going to be somewhere between book and tablet. Is that what
The
I'm
virtual
getting at?
reality was the.
I think VR wouldn't be in between, it would be the.
Okay.
So, for example, I remember I was an English teacher for a second, and I remember I would always start with reading the book. Like, we would read the story, and if everyone was great, we'd watch the movie, right? Like, at the end of the quarter or whatever. It's always going to be the movie that the kids remember more than the book, which is so crazy. Because those of us who are readers, like, engage in it, right? Like, I don't know if any of you are these people. I will cry reading a book by myself. But it is going to be the details from the movie that if you ask any kid, they're going to be able to recall words. They're going to be able to, act out scenes. They're going to be able to do this because it's that one step in. They've now engaged in this physical form versus the reading book. Now, if there was VR and they're in the movie, I don't even want to know. Like, they would, right? I'm sitting down and anyway. Parents available for connection 1+ time a week, and what does this look like? Wait, hold the phone. Oh yeah, let me do the colors. So the light blue, the one that's on top, is for ages 0 to 9, and the darker green is for kiddos that are 10+. So parents that are available for connection 1+ time or more, 1 or more times a week, attend church together. We see that connection with parents is pretty similar for both. Pray together. It's happening for the younger kids, 77 versus 69. Discuss the Bible. Parents are spending less time talking to teens about their early teens and teens about the Bible than they are their little ones. Listening to worship music is exactly the same. Engaging in conversations about spiritual topics, similar. Reading the Bible out loud, again, easier to read to your little than to your early teen or teenager. And volunteer with the ministry. Well, it's an age thing, 0 to 9. It's a little harder to serve. But I'm showing this slide because we've seen studies where once teenagers become that early teen, preteen, it gets harder to talk to them about God for multiple reasons. I did that one earlier. They do not necessarily want to engage, or they have a different viewpoint and don't want to share it, or feel rejected by the church, or multiple different reasons. But we're seeing that parents are engaging less with them when it comes to the early teens and teenagers. Resources parents utilize to help kids engage with the Bible. I'm skipping down to online digital resources. 28% for ages 0 to 9, but only 24%. So less than a quarter of parents are using online resources to help their early teens and teenagers. The ones that are actually using tech, the parents are not using tech to engage and speak in their language, which means we're having a communication disconnect with our teenagers and parents when it comes to that. Thinking through tech. I'm going to skip this slide. Now I'm going to show it because it includes what adults are doing as well. How are you engaged when you are in church, listening to a sermon or teaching in church? Majority of people, this is all practicing is pink, millennials are blue, Gen X is yellow, boomers are dark blue. Listen carefully, we're pretty good, but look at the numbers when it comes down here on the right. Looking at text, social media, or emails during church, everyone's doing it. First point, everybody's doing it. Including the boomers. Thank you. But our millennials are definitely doing it. Where do you see our millennials on this chart? They're taking notes, friends. Look at that option. 31% of millennials, 32% of Gen X are using their devices to take notes during church. That's fantastic. I didn't think that was a thing. But this Barna study says so. I have a few in my church that I have seen literally bring notebooks, and I'm actually always really shocked that is a thing that is still happening in 2022. But they'll doodle in it, and here's what the preacher looks like, and here's what they just said. I'm amazed. So apparently we use our devices to do as well. So some good, some bad. Getting distracted, but also using it. Follow along with the physical Bible. Listening carefully. They're taking notes though. We'll leave it out. The thing I wanted to point out here is instead of attending church, millennials 34% use resources. 34 and 18, so that's a pretty high number right there. 52% often, or about half the time, use resources, use products versus actually in person. Do you rely on Christian resources such as these instead of attending a church? Millennials. 34% plus 18%. So that's a, yeah.
I just have to say, we totally do. Streaming online sermons, is that what it means?
No. Again, well, this is pre-COVID. So this is not including during the crazy.
I mean, it's not just,
allowed at church.
we're not allowed because everybody's always sick. Literally.
Say you can't have them here. They sneezed.
Literally, one of them sneezed once, and
One of your kids or another kid at
one
church?
of our kids sneezed. We just have so many kids, and one of them's always sick, so we're streaming it all the time now.
Yeah. This, again, does not include COVID data. So it stops in 2020 because we're still collecting, what is that?
What are these Christian resources instead of church?
So this,
Oh, so it would be like a sermon, though?
It could be sermons, it could be podcasts, it could be a vlog, it could just be an article, it could just be a book, it could, and any other form of media. But yeah. But Val, you're like, wait, what are we? They can't get vaccinated. They sneezed. Wow. So just pointing out, it's a really big part of our millennial, the faith development and formation for our kids. So how do we connect with them when we know that technology is such an ingrained part of what they do? Doing after-school activities, wanting to point out. So many of the things are the things that we have done before. Something of interest, though, only 8% are involved with reading the Bible devotions or prayer after school. In the study that I did this morning, majority of the time, we leave it for evening family worship, for chapel at school, or for church on Sabbath. But otherwise, it's not often that we engage in conversations with our kids, using resources or our own selves to every day ask our kids, how did you see Jesus today? Or how has God made a difference in your life today? These are just not questions we're asking our kids. So we are voiding God in our daily lives by not having this be a regular part of how we're talking to them. Why would God be relevant? Why would kids come to church if there's not a point? Like if I only need them on Sabbath, but I skip church one Sabbath and I'm still okay, what's the importance? After school religious activity, skipping that one. Oh, we'll do this too. Again, older parents report across the bottom that their kids are using media way more, but again, their kids are older and they're also media stressed, which means they feel like their kids are always on social media, always asking for a device, always asking for the password to get on so they can do things. So what do family members do? These things are probably things that you already know because of our age demographic that we have in here. So again, going super fast and then we'll talk for a little bit. The tech-wise family commitment number 1, develop wisdom and character together as a family. Our issues are technology is speaking more. Technology literally has more hours of access to our children during the day than parents usually do. So it is becoming the louder voice for our kids. Make a plan to put family first. How can you take back that role of being the parent who they see as being the authority figure in your home? And actually create a plan, like one day a week we are going to have a no tech game night, or but if you're taking tech away from them, which they feel is an integral part. How many of you have ever lost your phone and you had like the worst feeling and you're like, oh, where's my phone? How many of you have ever felt that about your Bible? Where's my Bible? Jerry's like, but if we're feeling this, then imagine what we've just done to our kids whose technology literally is their lifeline to classroom, to friends, to social media, current culture updates, all these things. If we take a phone away, it is cutting something very intrinsic in them. So a really important thing is make sure you're giving something when you're taking something. So there's an equilibrium that's found. Make it a super fun family game night that you only do once a week. Don't have it like every single night. They will rebel against you. Like this will be one of those things. But something that engages them and makes them look forward to that time. Like, yeah, no phone for the next 15 minutes or something, like, right? Commitment 2, create more than you consume. If you think of yourself on the phone, how often are you creating something for someone else? Like you're sending a text message, you're calling someone, you're engaging with another person, versus you're watching a video or an IG video streams that come up on Facebook. So think of that for yourself, but then think of that as your family as well. What can you do where you're still utilizing technology and speaking in the same language as your kids, but you're creating something? Are you doing a video to the grandparents that you're sending? Are you asking them to make a fun montage of like their week at school that they're sending? Are they using it to be an evangelistic tool, or is it literally just a consumption thing? Are we online because we're just watching something mindless? So one of these things, it's almost like a diet. For many homes, the TV is in the main room. When you sit down in the main room, we are then saying, this is where you watch TV, not this is where we family. So it's like a diet. Like when I'm trying to change lifestyle, do I keep oranges and bananas and apples on the table, or do I keep the peanut M&Ms on the table? Like, what is easier for me to access? What's easier for your kids to access? What do we have? Commitment number 3, live according to the rhythm of work and rest. How many of you, when you're taking a break from the day, reach for your phone so you can just scroll through things? It's not actually relaxing for your body. It is something that's other, and I have a practice that I do with people where I do the things that fill you and actually rejuvenate your body and bring balance to your life versus things that are just a distraction. Getting online is just becoming a distraction, but we're releasing those hormones that go, oh, that was kind of fun, though. Oh, look at how many people liked my photo, right? And every time that happens, you're releasing endorphins that go, oh, that was a positive thing. I hope more people post again, right? And then we get into this habit, but it's not actually relaxing our body. But we turn to tech when we're relaxing now, which is ruining Sabbath. People are no longer understanding what it means to be in communion with each other. They're no longer realizing the excitement of what Sabbath was created for, because we're turning to tech. So challenge 1 day, 1 hour a day, 1 day a week, 1 week a year, turn off your devices. Like, you choose the time frame for your family. What if it was a 15-minute, sweet 15-minute, where you added something to your family's life where tech wasn't involved? But go with the rhythm of your family. Commitment 4, devices go to bed before us and they get up after us. How many of you reach for your phone and turn on social as the very first thing you do in the morning when the alarm goes off? Do not tell me. I know. We're the same. I didn't actually write I goofed and didn't actually put the thing in there, but it's one of those things as well. Where can we help set up a model for our kids to understand God in our life? I know growing up, I always saw my mom and dad like with their Ovaltine or their Roma or whatever and their Bible, like I could see them modeling worship for me. And that was one of the physical and like visual things. I saw my parents praying. I saw my parents reading their quarterly. What are you modeling to your kids for worship at home? What do they get to see and then learn and then do for themselves as well? So if one of these things is just devices, like, is there time for worship in the morning? Or is there time, not the really quick prayer, but like actual, like we're taking time, we're being intentional about talking about God. What if devices go to bed before us so we can spend intentional family time or intentional worship time? What if they get up after us? We do family first. We say good morning to people. We do all these things before we grab our phone. Anyway. Commitment 5, no screens before double digits. So, this one, we've seen in research, is getting harder and harder and harder and harder and harder. I see it in church every week, where a parent hands an 8-month-old a cell phone. It's a thing. Have you seen this? You've seen this. Not that the kid necessarily is doing things, but they're holding on to it. This is becoming their first language. Literally. They're not even speaking yet. But they're holding on to devices. They're learning to take pictures by the time they're 1 and something. Right? Have you seen little kids? They can They're not speaking full sentences yet, but they are already speaking tech. Studies are also showing that if you have older kids, so if you've got a high schooler, then your junior high kid is going to want to be on tech, right? The older ones are doing it, why can't I? They don't understand mental formation. They just know that someone else in the family has something that they don't have. And they think that person is cool because it's their elder sibling or another person in their life. Setting personal family limits in your home if you don't already have, and having this give and take balance. Commitment number 6, use screens together for a purpose, not aimlessly and alone. Again, can you use your screens for worship? Can you use your screens for playtime? Where can you use them so it is a positive influence? There is something being created and it's working for you all as a family. And then when it's done, it's no longer part of your son or daughter's identity. Like, hey, worship is done. This is when we use the phone, and then we put it away because we're reading the Bible together, or we're reading Uncle Arthur something together, or we're reading, right? So what does a purposeful screen time interaction look like for you and your family? Again, speaking their language, incorporating things, but then also having that rhythm for your own family. Car time is conversation time. Really difficult, I assume, because I have not experienced this. But every one of my family members has the connected iPad on the back of the car seat, so they are watching things on the way to the grocery store, on the way to church, on the way to school, on the way to everywhere, which then makes it the norm. I'm seeing some of you go, no, 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 no. Congratulations. But some of you are yes, yes, yes. You know that it exists for some people, and that's just creating, again, that expectation. As soon as I get in the car and I put on my belt and I'm quiet, I'm going to get a device, right? Yeah.
Consider music as a part of that?
Music in the car? No. This is tech, physical, social media. Like, what are you using it as a family time thing? Like, we're singing in the car together? No, I think that's fantastic.
Although, but sometimes it turns into like, now I'm going to pick my song, and now let me scroll through and pick my song, and now I'm going to scroll through and pick my song.
No, I think it's fantastic because the intention is still we're doing this thing together. And you're creating, you're not just consuming. So it's not you're just listening to a song, you're belting it out together, you're doing whatever, like you're engaging in his family, that's fantastic. That's a really good. I don't know if you do that, but I'm assuming you do, and I think it's really fantastic. As you pull up to a stop sign. So yeah, that connection, anytime you're using it for positive and you're creating, singing is creating, listening is consuming. Commitment 8 of 10. We're almost there. Spouses have one another's passwords, and parents have full access to children's devices. Don't need to go into this, other than 30% of all internet traffic relates to pornography. 62% of teens have reported receiving nude images. 40% claim to have sent one. It's insane. And this does not include, I chose not to include information regarding violence and social media, please be reading all of your kids' social media things. Yeah.
Yes, please. Protectyoungminds.com. You should protect young minds. You should look that up. Every parent should.
Tell us more about it.
I teach 5th grade, and she wrote a book called Good Pictures, Bad Pictures, and then there's Good Pictures, Bad Pictures Junior, which is meant for like, if your kid has a device with internet access, this kid needs to be prepared ahead of time. We teach our kids stranger danger.
Yeah.
We're not freaking out about that. We're not afraid that they're going to have nightmares and be all curious about going talking to a stranger. Are you trying to take me away? We're not worried about that, right?
Yeah.
We prepare them. If someone comes in, it's the same thing. If you see a picture, then this is what you should do.
Yeah.
And it's that simple. It's no big deal. Your friends might show you that because they don't know better. And so what you need to do is this. And so then when it happens, they come to you right away, and it's no big deal. And if they don't, if they're not prepared,
Yeah.
it's bad.
Yeah.
It's addictive.
5th grade.
5th grade, yeah.
Yeah.
5th grade, 4th grade. And I mean, every time I ask that question, I don't ask it really. I say, there are some pictures out there that are inappropriate. And every single time, 90% of my class is like, she knows about those? They've all seen them. These are 2
It's coming down, it's becoming not uncommon for 3rd graders now too.
The
And I
average age
really,
is kindergarten,
yeah.
first exposure.
Oh no, even earlier now.
Yeah.
Studies are showing, because again, if you have an older sibling,
Yep.
you're probably on a tablet or something starting 2 or 3 years old, where you could see something inadvertently,
Absolutely.
not looking for it, inadvertently, but yeah, it's coming much younger. But 3rd grade being where they're actively looking now for inappropriate material, which is this one also is really important for just families. We have an increase, obviously, of divorce and things like that for families, and so sharing passwords. Not because I doubt you and I'm checking your phone because I don't trust you. It's because I do trust you that you have my password, and I know that I don't need to. But putting some of those things in place and sharing them with your kids, like we all have each other's passwords. This is why we.
No password and no phone.
No password, no phone. This one again, creating music versus consuming music, commitment number 9. So much of worship now is happening where our teens are listening to praise bands, but they're not necessarily singing out loud together anymore, which is the only active part of worship for most kids at church. Other than the standing, sitting, kneeling, if there's a call and response, but otherwise, literally, your chance to be engaged in personal active worship is through praise, and our kids aren't necessarily doing it anymore. They'll go to the concert. They love going to the concert because you get to be invisible while still worshiping, and that's becoming a really huge thing for our kids right now, individualistic worship, where they can hide and still worship versus, anyway. We'll get into that. So yes, please continue jamming out in the car. Commitment 10, show up physically for big events in life. How many of you have skipped a graduation or something big because you could watch it online? Don't say yes. I know you've done it. So please show up for your family's big things. Now, roadmap. Carrie Newhoff, I don't know if any of you have followed this individual. I think he's fantastic. Great parenting isn't controlling, it's coaching. So teaching your kids about social media use. It is like a learner's permit, driving school, and rules for the road. Those 3 things. Learner's permit, rules of the road. Please repeat this statement to your kids over and over. The primary reason you have a phone is so that I can get in touch with you, right? Let them know also, this is the basics. Let the kids know ahead of time. The Find My Friends app is on your phone. I know where you are. Limiting where their phone is used in the home, inform them of the monthly cost. Like, educate your young one about all the responsibilities that go along with phones and then reading text messages. Again, not because you don't trust them, but because you are an engaged parent. Driving school, you're the expert. When parents limit their own use of technology at home, it is modeling the way for their kids. Well, if you're on the phone, why can't I be on the phone, right? Like, that's going to be an issue. So how do you have this conversation if there are conflicting things going on? So consider doing some of the things. No phones at dinner, set milestone speed bumps or stops in regards to usage. Like, we use it here, we don't use it here, and just make it a part of their rhythm. Like, so they just know. It's not a punishment, it's just not how we live. Like, it's not part of our family's rhythm. Point out positive role models on social media, and celebrity or whatnot social media usage. Look, they're being careful. They're not talking about everything that they're doing in their life or where they are, so they don't get taken. And things like that. Pick one social media channel. Kids do not need to be on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok and, right? Why? You're 10. You don't need to be an influencer at 10. You can be, but choose a channel. Anyway. Follow your teenager and make their account private. Keep an eye on whom they are following and who's following them. Set alerts for when your teenager posts something. So just things, again, that you share with them that they know. Rules for the road. Never text or post out of anger. Ask the question before texting or posting, would I want my parents to read this? And ask this question before texting or posting, will I regret this 5 years from now? So these are developmental stages for social usage formation that you can share with your kids when it becomes time. Criticize in person, not in line. Are you ready to take a break from social media for 10 days? If not, it's time to take a break from social media. And be an encourager online, not a critic. Be the same person online as you are offline. If you aren't sure you shouldn't post, if you should post it, don't. The pictures you show of yourself should be modest and tasteful. Never determine your self-worth and identity from social media. And now I want to talk to us together. So tips for one another. What are some of the things that you are finding hardest when it comes to your kids and social media usage? Younger, so not necessarily still but
It's hard to say no. You know, when they want to get on that math app, it's not, you know, it's just a game. It's a video game. Where it's my kids aren't old enough for social media, but it's the same. It's because their friends are doing it. They see that their friends are on that app too, and they get their points, and they want to. I just want to say it's done. But that's hard. It's hard to say no because it's peer pressure to me too, because all their friends are doing it, and I don't want them to feel left out too and be the.
I'm so there with you.
Yeah. That's hard, but underneath it all, I just want to be like.
yeah. There's also the desire for not to deal with the fallout, like if it turns into a tantrum, like if I just give in, then I know I can walk away and have me time for a little bit because they're on a device, right? That's a big deal. Sorry.
A rule we have with our kids is if you ask, the answer is no. You only get to watch a show if we put it on for you, things like that. Because they would ask all the time when they, years ago before we developed that rule. So now they just know not to ask.
That's awesome.
And we're going to do that same thing with phones.
But you taught them that that's a thing.
Yeah.
And so that is your lifestyle for at home. We will put it on for you. So hopefully it limits the number of times they're coming to you.
But it's slippery, and I mean, our oldest is 8, and I can already feel the control slipping, and I can see how.
Yeah, that works well at about 4 and 6.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
But now you're gonna have to
You
adjust.
can't just,
Yeah.
it's gonna have to be them.
Because we have that rule too,
That,
and
that partnership
You
were
should
talking
adjust.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll have to go that way. So we have to pick up 3 kids from 3 tents.
Yeah. The tents are right here. And it's 4 o'clock. We're right there. One, I wanted to share just 2 weeks ago. I had my nephew staying with me while I had VBS at my church. And for part of the day, one of the days, I was like, I need you to do your math homework. Like, they have summer school things. And I was like, I need you to do your math homework online while I just get some of these things done for VBS. And I would do like 10-minute check-ins. Like, hey, how are you doing? Like, we're sitting in the same room. It's not like I left them. And at one point, my younger nephew started giggling.
Oh, it's got some.
Math was funny nowadays. And so I was like, hey, how's math homework coming? Great. And I was like, can I see your screen? Yeah. I saw him change it, the color changed on his face, right? Like you change pages as you flip, and it was so. It was
they're good.
So slick. I would not have known.
I have the
if
hands
I
up rule.
hadn't seen
Hands
it.
up. Okay, now turn your screen. Don't you
Right?
any buttons.
But it's one of those things where, how do you deal with that level of things going on? So not only are they using it but abusing it.
Yeah, they're trying
And
to be
then
sneaky
lying
then.
to you
Exactly.
about what they're
I think that's
doing.
true.
That communication thing. So for me, and I'd love to hear from you if you've got a second to tell me. For me, I know media for the rest of the day. And they were my helper for UES, and they didn't get to help me. Because you are now an attendee, not me, the director's helper. That's and then we had a conversation where my conversation was asking them, why did you choose to do that? And did you feel threatened by me that I'm going to let you do that? Or do you feel like we are not in a good place where you can actually communicate with me? Did I do something? Right? So it was this communication, and so much of it was like, and I think those intentional points were, my last one was like, I'll look, regardless of what happens, but I'm letting you know, this really hurt me. And I'm really sad that we can't communicate the way that I thought, and that I can't trust you as much as I thought. But I know we can work on it, we can get better, but I'm gonna need you in on it with me. Do you want it? So it's like this pledge, like, do you want to build on this relationship with me? And those kind of contracts, like, I believe in you, I know we can do it, but having that versus, you did it again, I can't trust you anymore, I'm just taking your stuff. It really rips down on kids, and their mental psyche, and then they're gonna just fight it. Broken that relationship anyway, just there's nothing left there. And they forget, your parents are still gonna love you. Like, we still love you, even though they did this, but at this age, in their identity formation, they're needing that affirmation. So how can we have these conversations with your kids? Thoughts, questions on anything? Just keep talking.
Just keep it open, because I have all sorts of opportunities to have those conversations over and over
And
again.
over and over and over. And you feel like they're not sticking.
Yep.
But one of the things, I was speaking for something else, but it was asking teenagers, so not early teens or younger, but teenagers, who their major spiritual influences were. And shockingly, teens were saying parents, like, way further out than their friends, than their academy Bible teachers, that, like, I was really surprised by that study, which is very different than it was like 10 years ago, where it was friends. Like, friends were tracking as their #1 source. But the last 10-year study that I've been reading, it was parents. So kids are listening to you, even if they're not connecting with you, for this age group, teens right now, which is really fascinating.
So the parents learn from their mistakes, so what is flipping that?
Now, I'm looking forward to data on what COVID has done and what we do. But studies aren't going to come out for at least another 2 to 4 years after things are done